For thousands of years, people across cultures have tried to explain how the universe works. Ancient Indian thinkers, like the Vedic scholars, created detailed ideas about the cosmos by blending science and philosophy. Their sacred texts, the Ṛgveda and the Upaniṣads, describe two key principles: Rta, the natural order of the universe, like gravity and seasons, and Satya, the eternal truth behind existence. These concepts demonstrate that the Vedic understanding of the universe is one that follows a timeless, harmonious, natural, physical laws or truths, concepts surprisingly similar to modern science's focus on universal laws like physics. These concepts of a universe created from something and governed by eternal laws of nature finds amongst its earliest expressions in the Ṛgveda. Abhī ajayata, this world, abhī ddhāt, was brought into existence tapasaha, by that tapas that is the impeller of all activity, satyám, in accordance with the truth, ca, and Ṛtám, the order of nature, meaning the world and the universe as a whole. Vedic texts also explored the mystery of consciousness. Scholars showed that these ancient works understood the concept and functioning of the human mind and the mind's role in perception. Yet even today, acclaimed Western scientists like Nobel laureate in physics Roger Penrose admit that explaining how the brain creates consciousness remains a puzzle. However, my presentation today focuses on two big questions. One, how do Vedic ideas about the cosmic order, time cycles, and mathematics align with contemporary scientific thought? Two, what insight can these ancient teachings provide in contemporary scientific debates? This means comparing key insights in Vedic texts about the universe's rhythms with contemporary theories in quantum physics and cosmology. The purpose is firstly to highlight overlaps like the shared focus on universal laws, gravity and Rta, as well as the differences in the two approaches to the philosophical study of nature, universal creation and origin, limits of human knowledge, and the concept of human consciousness. I will also touch on some basic elements of Vedic geometry and mathematics, while the traditions of Bodhayana, Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, Brahmagupta and the like show a long tradition of complex mathematics. I will present a few of the easier to identify and understand concepts from the Bodhayana Shulba Sutra and the Bij Ganit of Bhaskara to illustrate one, mathematical rigor present in the Vedic tradition, to a point where the level of mathematics had developed to understand the mechanics of the universe to at least a level of Newton, and two, that this Vedic mathematical tradition predates the so-called Greek discoveries. So firstly, what faith do we place in this Vedic knowledge? A scientist today will tell you that all inquiries must be considered on a basis of observation, data, analysis, inference, postulations, and so forth. The Vedic system also acknowledges multiple means of acquiring knowledge called pramanas, including pratyaksh or perception, anuman or inference, and shabda or verbal testimony. These modes of knowing, although slightly different in some respects, are contextually parallel to contemporary scientific methods, which rely on empirical observation, mathematical abstraction, theoretical modeling, and so forth. This is nothing new, considering that since Swami Dayanand, a large number of Indian academics and scholars, along with a few from the West, have been highlighting these comparisons. What is now interesting is the studies into concepts found in the Vedic and Upanishadic texts about what is beyond the observable Newton's deterministic universe. The Nasadya Sukta describes creation starting from a state which can neither be called as of existence or that of non-existence, which had neither any solid particles nor any identifiable space. Such descriptions today find spaces in discussions on quantum physics, with experiments and postulates that consider the beginning and end of the universe, dark matter, dark energy, and black holes which experience neither time nor space. The dynamic nature of the universe from its inception with the Big Bang theory corresponds very closely with Hiranyagarbha and Virat. The evolution of the Big Bang to include the cyclic universe theory of physicists like Steinhardt and Turok finds similarity in the Ṛgveda, where yatha purvam, meaning as in previous manifestations of creation, show a cyclical nature of the universe. Even on the other end of the physics spectrum, from the macro of the cosmos to the subatomics of quantum physics, we find striking similarities that warrant further investigation. For example, physicist Niels Bohr's insights into atomic structure and the observer effect. He suggests that it is impossible to separate subatomic objects from their interaction with measuring instruments in these experiments. Now, these reflect similar inquiries found in Vedic and Upanishadic texts. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad describes the Brahman's self-aware consciousness as the source of existence. Now, quantum physics suggests that the observation collapses wave functions, implying that consciousness is an intrinsic part of reality's manifestation. The Aham Brahmasmi realization also removes the divide between the observer and the observed, just like how quantum systems cannot be separated from the observer intent. Both frameworks reject a purely objective universe. It reminds one of what 20th century philosopher and former Indian Prime Minister S. Radhakrishnan explained when he said that Vedic texts see humans as a meeting point between the self and the universe. Similarly, physicist Fritjof Capra noted in his book The Tao of Physics that modern physics, like quantum theory, feels closer to Eastern mysticism than old Western science. The important point to note at this juncture is that these observations, speculations, and conclusions present in Vedic texts are not just the stereotypical Western perceptions of our ancient texts being ramblings of some rishis sitting under trees or coming down from mountains. No, this Vedic knowledge is built on an equally ancient, proud, and advanced system of mathematics. While the calculations of planetary orbits like we find in the Surya Siddhanta may be more of a level suitable for a maths or physics conference, I will touch on a few of the elements that we are more familiar with. The Atharva Veda shows early use of 0 as a placeholder in numbers. Example, turning 1 into 10, 2 into 20, and so forth. The Yajur Veda gives us powers of 10 up to 19 digits, or 10 to the power of 18. And despite what Persian and Western scholars tell us, Aryabhatta was not the first to discover 0. The Bodhayana Shulba Sutra was the first to present the theorem of the right angle triangle, what the world calls the Pythagoras theorem, and this centuries before Pythagoras did. The text also includes detailed treatises on circles, including the calculation of pi, and detailed triangular, quadrilateral, and polygon geometric constructions. The Bij Ganita of Bhaskacharya provides detailed explanations of progressively advanced mathematical concepts like surds and the solutions for quadratic equations. Together, these disciplines laid the foundations for trigonometry and astronomy, the tools for understanding the mechanics of the universe. This demonstrates that Vedic seers had the mathematic tools to understand and describe the physical universe, as well as gain sufficient insight to investigate using logic, mathematics, and theoretical physics principles, or put in another way, pramana, to understand macro and concepts beyond the observable universe. What we see is that both Vedic thought and modern science seek a unified understanding of the universe, and key overlaps include concepts like cyclical time, cosmic order, and these underpinned by mathematical precision. So what are the benefits of blending the old and new? We can start by filling some gaps. Modern physics admits reductionism, or this concept of studying parts in isolation, can't fully explain mysteries like consciousness. Vedic philosophy's holistic view, on the other hand, looking at things in the entirety and the interrelation, might offer clues. We can ask new questions. Could ancient concepts like Rtam and Satya inspire fresh ways to study newly discovered phenomenon like dark matter or quantum fields? How then would we approach this? Future research needs to analyze Vedic texts with modern linguistics and maths tools to uncover fresh insights, particularly with emerging quantum theory. We need to use technology to build mathematical models that study ancient concepts, observations, and calculations to compare against modern universe mechanics. We need to promote more integrated, cross-disciplinary Vedic studies with focus on mathematics, science, physics, and cosmology. And we need to re-examine the Western narrative of the age of Indian maths and science and place Vedic science in its right chronological position in the history of human race. The integration of Vedic and modern perspective paves the way for a more unified understanding of the cosmic order. Even after unlocking the secrets of the atom and opening the door to the quantum universe, Niels Bohr states that we must in fact turn to quite other branches of science, such as psychology, or even to that kind of epistemological problems with which already thinkers like Buddha and Lao Tzu have been confronted when trying to harmonize our position as spectators and actors in this great drama of existence. नमस्ते, मेरा नाम सिंधु भोगल है और मैं आर्य समाज दक्षिण अफ्रीका से हूँ। मैं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय आर्य विद्वत महासम्मेलन के आयोजकों का आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ कि उन्होंने मुझे वेदों में विज्ञान पर विचार और दृष्टिकोण प्रस्तुत करने का अवसर प्रदान किया। आदरणीय स्वामी आर्यवेश, स्वामी आदित्यवेश, डॉक्टर रवि प्रकाश आर्य और डॉक्टर ज्वालंत कुमार शास्त्री जी को आपके और आपके टीम के प्रति धन्यवाद का शब्द, जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम को सफलतापूर्वक आयोजित किया और एक ऐसा मंच तैयार किया जहां, जैसे कि आपने सम्मेलन आमंत्रण में बहुत ही सुंदर ढंग से कहा, आर्य समाज के रीढ़ विद्वानों को आमंत्रित किया गया है, जो वैदिक दृष्टिकोण में विभिन्न वैश्विक समस्याओं के समाधान पर गंभीरता से चर्चा करेंगे। साथ ही भविष्य की दिशाओं और कार्यक्रमों का रूपरेखा प्रस्तुत करेंगे। नमस्ते।